Hello everyone, it is I, once again, James the Squirrel, and I am here with Nicky V.
Hello, I am Nicky V, and I am joined by James the Squirrel.
Yes, you are. And we're going to be talking about this week's NXT and also giving our predictions for Takeover Chicago.
So, the build for Takeover Chicago has been it's been all right. Like, it hasn't been amazing. Like, they've they've barely really done anything with the tag titles. It honestly feels like the major focus is on like the women's match, and oddly enough, people who are probably going to be competing next week.
And
So
also
that's
Hideo
weird.
Itami and Bobby Roode. Mainly
Yeah,
Hideo Itami.
yeah, I don't think Rude's had a match since Takeover Orlando.
Yeah. So,
I guess that's because it's like he's kind of a prize fighter at this point, like so that his matches have a big fight feel.
mm.
But still,
So, first off, we have a little pre-show thing with Bobby Roode coming to the show with his title and someone carrying his bags. Just to,
yeah, it's
yeah,
basically just him being a dick.
yeah, him being him, Bobby being Bobby.
Mm-hmm. That's him.
And then we pretty much go into the intro and then straight into Drew Galloway, Drew McIntyre, whichever you wish to call him, versus Sean Maluta.
I will say this: Sean Maluta has the worst Titantron video I've ever seen, and somehow it gets worse every single time he comes out.
But he's good
I'm
in the
convinced.
ring.
I'm convinced that his next Titantron is going to be made in MS Paint
I could
with
do
like
that.
Comic Sans. It's bad. But yeah, so they mentioned that he is a third degree black belt. But considering that it was Percy, I believe, who said that, I'm going to say he's full of shit.
I'm gonna say
I don't
that's
know if he is or not.
bullshit because he keeps
I
lying out
I
his ass.
I have not looked it up to confirm, but I'm just going to call it right here. So one of the first things that in this match, McIntyre basically, because he's like 2 feet taller and 700 pounds heavier than Sean Maluta, because he's basically an Adonis of a human being. Um, he kept shoving Maluta in the corner, and the ref would break him up, and McIntyre would basically like gesture for him to get out of the corner, and Maluta didn't like that,
Hmm.
and then he shoved him, and then
Maluta was
that was a
kind of like
mistake.
strong for a while.
He
Look,
was. He had a
yeah, like
couple of good moves.
that second rope codebreaker was nice.
Yeah, isn't that Drake's move
I don't know. It's
from
it.
WCPW?
No, I don't know.
I think someone from WCPW has a top rope code breaker.
Mm.
But yeah, so it was still a pretty cool move.
And then
But
like the
but he
the
kicked out at
match,
one.
yeah, the match pretty much match ended. Drew took
Mm-hmm.
control, hit
Yeah,
the
there was one more kind of cool move that happened that I want to talk about. So Sean grabbed the turnbuckle or like the ropes near the turnbuckle, and like jumped up into the air, and it looked like he was kind of looking for a head scissors,
mm,
but like McIntyre kind of like moved to the side and just fucking kicked him in the face.
yeah. Drew is really good at that. Pretty much the match ends how you think. Drew hits his finisher, the Claymore kick.
Yeah, well,
Um,
the McIntyre or not McIntyre, Nigel called it the Yakuza kick.
yeah, that
So
is what the move is called, but for Drew, it's called the Claymore.
yeah,
Mm.
but like
That is like
it
saying,
it's kind of like a young blood wheelbarrow suplex kind of deal.
yeah. Then we have an interview with Drew Galloway where he pretty much talks down Blake, says they'll have a match next week. Ink, Blake is going to lose. We all know this. This will probably be like a dark match at
Yeah,
Takeover and just air next
yeah,
week.
yeah. Like there's most likely going to be 3 matches. Like there's going to be Wesley versus McIntyre.
Hmm.
Uh, maybe Cassius versus Patrick Clark.
Yeah. Like,
That makes sense.
yeah, there'll be a bunch of matches at Takeover that'll probably happen before the actual Takeover, and then
Mhm.
they'll be aired next week, along with
Yeah,
like
and
recaps of what happened at Takeover.
right, and Alistair's gonna do something too.
Yeah.
So that's
Um,
neat.
and then we get our first recap of this week, which is of last week's main event. I will be saying
Yeah.
this multiple times, which met more. This one more went on the line of what happened after it with Roderick Strong, and then it led straight into a Sanity promo on a roof somewhere.
Like the best part of this was like
What?
everyone like Alexander Wolf was just kind of dancing in the background. He tried to get Killian Dane involved, and Killian was just like, "I'm gonna fucking murder you.
I
You
will
can't touch me
drop
again."
you.
And then Nikki Cross was just giggling and laughing, and she jumps on his back at some point.
Hmm.
Like they are the best.
Eric Young basically says, "Okay, we'll have a match. Okay, Roderick, you want a match with us? You can have a match with us." And that gets
Yeah,
that gets confirmed later in the night.
yeah. The best line from this from Eric was like they call us crazy, but do you know how insane this sounds?
Hmm. I love
Like
that line.
that was a good line.
And then we
So
get a recap of the UK tournament. I'm gonna be
yeah,
saying recap a lot this episode.
yeah. Oh, they also did a quick little video package of Hideo because like they did four different,
Oh yeah, that.
like 3 or 4 different Hideo Itami things where they showed like big famous moments of his NXT days. Like
Yeah, like
the
his
first one was
debut, his return,
uh
his other return, and then last week.
yeah, yeah. Like they basically hit all the high points of his career. But yeah, so they recapped the UK tournament. Uh, they showed a bunch of recaps of Tyler Bates matches, and then they showed all the despicable shit that Pete Dunne's done.
Mm-hmm.
Dunne's done.
Boo. Terrible.
Yeah, that
And
was unintentional.
pretty much that goes straight into a another shitty promo, and this is straight out of my notes, not Nicky's. Another
Mhm.
shitty promo for the Velveteen Dream. I do not give
Yeah,
a shit about this guy. I really don't.
yeah. Just have him fucking come out already.
And
Like,
see, here's the thing: he's already debuted.
yeah, yeah.
Why the
It's
fuck are
not
you
like
doing this? If he hadn't debuted, I may be interested. But because he's already come out, we've already seen him wrestle. I don't give a shit. It's not good.
yeah. Just this whole Patrick Clark thing is weird. Um, also, and this is like kind of just something else, but like I haven't really been paying attention to the parts where Chris Jericho is like singing his theme song
Yeah.
for the theme song for Takeover Chicago. But this time I actually watched one of them. There's a random dude on fire in that.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
he just walks across the screen and he's just on fire
Trying to
and
put it
he's
out.
just like, "Oh, that's a problem." It's like,
Um.
what is this? What
Then
am I
we.
looking at? Hmm?
I'm just going through the order we have.
Yeah.
After that promo and that stuff, we have the recap of the Hideo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a very odd interview with Asuka in a car.
Mm-hmm. This was interesting. Like,
And
so
the interview pretty much summed up her current gimmick, which is I don't give a shit. Oh, look, the fans, I give a shit. And then she's not near the fans and she's like, I didn't want to do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
like she has reached the levels of just like, ugh, I just want to beat people up. I don't want to fucking deal with these plebeians.
Yes. She deals with them and she acts all nice and such because more money because they're buying my merch. That's at
Mm-hmm.
least what I'm going with. Mm.
That makes sense. But
Also
yeah,
I loved her answers, like no answer. Like it was like next question, is this interview over?
Like she is in such like someone pissed in her cereal. She is in such a crabby mood.
So the next match, which is the second match
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes,
the
Lacey
second
Evans
last
versus
match.
Sonya Deville.
Yes,
This was fun.
Yes, but I have several issues with it.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm okay with Deville being like the female MMA girl. That's a cool gimmick. There's not many people who have it.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is Lacey Evans used to work like using kayfabe. I'm not sure if this is 100% true, and if it is, good on her. Lacey Evans was military police and such.
Mm-hmm.
They go through martial arts training and such.
Yes.
So why the fuck can't she punch? Like, what? Why is it like that? Deville is the better striker. It should be more of a.
Well, hang on, because there was one part where where Sonya was getting all like, "Oh, look at me, I'm hot shit," and then she tried to throw a strike at Lacey. Lacey ducked, and then Lacey decked her, and like Sonya went down like a sack of potatoes.
Yes, but just before
so
that,
so it is like so Lacey can keep up with Sonya. It's just that Sonya. I guess the thing is like
there's a problem with what you're going with. Just before the second before that happened, Lacey threw a punch and Deville just like backstepped out of the way of it.
Well, that's okay. So this whole MMA thing, going by kayfabe, like MMA was Sonya's job. Like she trained for that all the time. So it would make sense to me at least that she'd be better at it than Sonya, who I doubt trained in MMA as much as Sonya did. But that being said, I quite like this match. Like it was
the match was good up until that Shining Wizard, which looked shite.
I was gonna get to that. The match was like very MMA-ish. Like there was a lot of strikes, a lot of knees, very physical, especially for a women's match. And then Sonya did that Shining Wizard, and it was honestly the weakest looking strike in the entire match.
Yeah, I know. Lacey also did a lot of interesting moves that I wasn't expecting.
Lacey's
they have
stuff.
both got a good career ahead of them. The one thing I would be saying to Deville is either get that Shining Wizard more crisp, or just do a basic Shining Wizard. You don't need
get an MMA finisher like an armbar or a Superman punch or something like that.
Well, hell, a Shining Wizard, you can make it look like an MMA thing because like she beats them down to their knees and then she just runs at them and does the Shining Wizard.
Right.
Yeah, it's there's many ways if you want to have the Shining Wizard that you can do it while keeping it in that MMA style and not making it look terrible.
Right.
Of course, that one time it could have just been she didn't pull it off right.
Yeah,
and she might
we'll have to see how we'll have to see in the future if like it looks a little better. But this was not a very good first shot at it.
Like next week she might do it and it might look amazing, and we might be going, "What were we thinking?"
Well, we would have been thinking that Shining Wizard looks bad. But
yes, that particular instance. After that, more recap of Hideo Itami stuff. Woo! We've already seen this, and it was last week.
Well, this was the one where he was.
Oh yeah,
he knocked out Bobby Roode.
Yeah, this
was like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, but still, it's like not much has happened between now and then. You don't. I am okay with them.
Here's the thing. Hideo doesn't really have a whole bunch of like career highlights in WWE because he's been injured so much. So they kind of had to stretch to find stuff.
Like I'd be okay if they did. Honestly, the one thing I wouldn't. The big complaint I have with this episode is the fact that they recapped last week's main event twice.
They kind of did, yeah. Once as part of the setup for the Sanity promo, and then once to
For
show
the Bobby
Daniel.
Roode stuff. Yeah, it's like
That's odd.
I'm okay if I'm okay if they redo it to show something extra that didn't air last week, or that happened on like the YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And just putting it on, like, say if they had that, like, the Roderick Strong stuff solely on YouTube and it didn't happen on air, recapping, like, the main event and then having it mainly focusing on what happened after the main event and what Roderick Strong did, that's okay. But recapping it just to say, Hideo won, yay! We don't need that. We know he won. That happened last week. At most, say, hey, like, have Bobby Roode bring up that fact that Hideo won in his promo, and that's all you need.
If he would have been like, last week Hideo did this, and they showed it on the Titantron, that would have been like way more.
And just show like a couple of seconds of really good moments from the match. Done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be fine. But anyway, so after that, we had the main event match of the night.
So
Cassius Ohno versus Andrade Almas. I liked this match for the first 90% of it. The last 2 minutes made me want to pull my hair out.
That 1 second kick out.
Okay, so first off, before we get too far into this match, why the fuck isn't WWE Shop selling these Cassius Ohno jerseys? I would buy all of them. They are so cool looking.
I would too. I honestly would. I'm not even a big basketball fan, and I know that stuff looks cool.
Yeah, like he had the Penny Hardaway look this week. It was like so good. And I'll bet you, like, for his match at Takeover, if he has one, he'll
Bulls.
Have one. Yeah, he'll have a Bulls jersey, and I'll be like, I want that, like, really hard, because I'm a Bulls fan.
As do I, and as am I.
Yes. But so, oh, by the way, almost nearly lost his hat in his entrance.
I noticed. So
yeah, this was a very stiff match.
Yeah, very stiff match. Like this is
like Nigel made a very blatant Los Ingobernables. Gobernables.
Los Ingobernables. I don't know. I'm not.
You're the New Japan guy.
Just because I'm the New Japan guy does not mean I can speak Spanish. Thank you very much.
Okay, so he made the most blatant LIJ reference ever.
Yes, he did, and I am fine with it. Speaking of which, oh my god, Ricochet versus Ospreay.
Oh god, the rematch. It, like, even flippier than last time.
I know, and it was so good. Anyway, back to this match.
Oh, by the way, Ohno has a fucking great moonsault. I did not know he had such, like, that moonsault was Charlotte-esque.
Dude, let me put it this way. This match is why I like Cassius Ohno Chris Hero so much. He is so good in the ring, and he should have been on main roster ages ago.
I will say that.
If he didn't leave, if he didn't leave NXT when he did, he'd already be in he'd already be on the main roster, and he'd most likely be teaming with Cesaro at the moment, and I'd be fine with that. Even though it's kind of they've already teamed together as Kings of Wrestling, and they're so good together.
They're fine with, like, pairing up, like, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens every other fucking month, so... Yeah,
we're gonna end our feud 2 months later! God damn it, Sami Zayn!
Yeah. So, the ending of this match.
Now...
So, it started off... Let me do this.
I was gonna ask you, like, I like the match. I don't really have a big problem with it. Like small mistakes here and there that I don't really care about. But what's the thing that made you not like it at that 90% mark?
So it started off with uh almost going to the top. He dove off and got hit with a gigantic big boot. And yet, Ono, who hit the big boot, staggered back and then almost did a cartwheel into a Pele kick. Just like, could you please sell? Could you please sell this a little bit? You just got decked with a giant boot that, like, earlier in the match put you on your ass. And then you do a cartwheel.
Adrenaline.
Like, mm-mm.
Kayfabe wise,
And then
like kayfabe wise,
and then after that, Almas did the double knees and was setting up for the hammerlock DDT. Ono powered through, backed him into the corner, and then Almas did a fucking crazy inverted tornado DDT, and Ono kicked out at 1.
yes. Okay. Now that I'm willing to say was one of the things I was like, that was a cool moment, but I think that would have been a cooler moment if it was like 1, 2, and then strong kick out at like after 2.
Yeah, strong kick out and then like rage. Like that would have been fine, but it was just like it was at that moment that I thought, you know what, maybe Vader was right. Like, will somebody fucking sell? Like, that last entire 2 minutes of the match was just no sell after no sell after no sell. Like, at least when Ricochet and Will Ospreay did it, and it blew up the internet last year, at least that was mostly flips and, like, counters. And there really wasn't that many, like...
big moves.
Big moves in that one exchange that got really popular. This was like one heavy hit after another that nobody fucking reacted to.
A good example.
I get that the crowd went ape shit after the 1 count, but it was just like,
they would have
somebody do something.
They would have gone as ape shit if it was like a power out at 2 as much as it would have been for a like 1, 2 going down for 3, and then like the power of the kick out bounces CN off.
If he would have kicked out and did a kip up right then, that would have been one thing.
Yeah, that would have been fine, no complaints, because that's like massive adrenaline. And then that's basically goes into the end with the end itself was really good. That moment
two rolling elbows, that's fine.
Yeah. And that's the thing, he did sell the rolling elbows and such.
Well, he sold the second one because like he hit the first one and he was still on his feet.
Well, he was staggered, which allowed him to hit the second one, is what I was getting at. That's still selling. Now, speaking of the whole selling thing and using Will Ospreay and Ricochet as an example, their first match, pretty much around this same time last year, there wasn't much selling because there wasn't needed to be much selling. The one that recently
countering everything.
Yeah, the one that happened recently.
And every time they like did a big move, they sold it like it was a big move. Like the fucking collapsed and was like, "Argh!"
And now the more recent one, and that just happened yesterday, that one was a lot more physically intensive, and they sold the hell out of it. That's why I say, hey Vader. Yeah. And this is a thing that I love. Will Ospreay, because this is the ending of the show, basically. Will Ospreay gets on the mic to give the go home promo, and basically tears into people saying wrestling is an art form. What we do is really hard. Him and Ricochet and Will Ospreay, we are the greatest enemies, but that man is my best friend. And pointing to Ricochet, and then proceeds to say, I will have a match with anyone and any style. I'll even have a House of Horrors match with Randy Orton. The shade he threw then. And because, like, if you haven't noticed, Randy Orton may or may not have pissed off the indie scene by saying,
Yeah.
by his comments, which you probably know
Which
of if you're watching this. If
which
not,
I don't give two shits about.
yeah, I don't really care either, but it's this thing.
It's dumb.
If you want more knowledge, there's places to go. Check Stephen Larson; they talk about it. But that pretty much is saying, hey, leave us alone. We don't talk shit about you. Don't talk shit about us.
Except they kind of do.
They only do it if it gets thrown at them.
Have you heard the Young Bucks talk? Like,
That's the Young Bucks. I'd like to note they're not assholes, but they like to poke fun because they're the Young Bucks.
yeah, you get my point.
Yeah, but it's not like they don't.
Well, it's not like the Orton comments were targeting like just Osprey in general. It was targeting like indie guys in general. So Young Bucks, my counter.
But Young Bucks don't really. They more attack like what WWE stands for.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get a.
Like I said, don't give a shit.
Yeah. Let's wrap this up. This part up. This next thing is like the second recap of last week's main event. Like we said, boring.
Right,
then we get
Bobby Roode showed up.
Yeah. Then we get a Bobby Roode promo.
Yeah, he says he's been hearing a lot about this Hideo guy and the GTS, and he actually admits he bees a man and says that the GTS knocked my ass out a few weeks back.
But
that was big of him. That was very big of him.
But he sets a provisor. He wasn't in his ring gear and he wasn't ready to go.
And he wasn't. He was not in his ring gear.
Everything he said is truth.
Points. Heels who make good points.
Yes. Partway through that, Hideo shows up.
Well, but before Hideo showed up, then Bobby started getting really heely and was just like, you're going to have to go back to Japan, talk to your wife and kid, and tell them that you failed again. Good heel work.
So,
then Hideo came out.
So, when Hideo came out, everyone tried to stop him. He fought through it, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Hits a GTS on a bunch of people, hits a GTS on Bobby Roode. That's your go-home show.
Yeah. I would have kind of preferred if Regal didn't come out, because there was no reason for Regal to come out.
I think if Regal came out, he shouldn't have gone on any further.
Yeah. If Regal came out, that should have stopped him, but it didn't, and it kind of just made Regal look like a
weak general
very
manager.
Ineffectual.
Yeah. What he could have done is we have everything go the way it was, except for the William Regal. Then, and as he's walking away from the whole GTSing Bobby Roode, William Regal runs out and just yells at him, basically, and that's when they cut it.
I don't know. I would have just cut out Regal altogether. Just have security swarm. Just have security swarm him at first, and then him powering through everyone, beats up Bobby for a sec,
GTS on
a couple of
guys.
Security nerds, and then GTS is Bobby.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was fine.
So before we go on to Takeover Chicago, there's one little thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
And it does involve NXT, and it does involve the Takeover.
Mm-hmm.
What are the odds on Adam Cole, baby, showing up?
I think that there is a pretty good chance that they'll cut to a shot of him in the crowd.
Yes, that's what I think will happen, because, one, just because he has dates in basically now and then, does not mean he can't show up, because it's happened before. Look at Drew Galloway for an example.
Yeah, and even then, they could have, him pop up in the crowd at Takeover, and then, have him not show up right away, and have his first match at the SummerSlam Takeover.
Yeah, at Brooklyn.
Do what they did with Bobby Roode, because Bobby Roode showed up at, Takeover Dallas.
Yeah.
And then he didn't have his first match until like I want to say the SummerSlam pay-per-view. So
Now,
they built to it.
there is one thing I would like to state.
Mhm.
WWE try and capture the Adam Cole baby stuff, like what his Ring of Honor, not his Ring of Honor, his New Japan theme, because that is so good and fits him so well. And it also would, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, his
Well,
Adam Cole baby theme from New Japan is perfect. It doesn't really need much changing. If you can get it from New Japan, great. If not, try and capture something like that, because it's everything you guys kind of like the WWE like in a theme. It gets the crowd in, and it gets them doing something. It gets them hyped. Blah 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 blah. And you, the moment his music hits, you know it's him.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, it's kind of like a situation that they had with Shinsuke Nakamura because,
Yeah.
like, Nakamura's theme in New Japan was like the best thing ever, and people were like, they gotta get the theme from New Japan because otherwise it won't work. And then they made a thing for Shinsuke, and it's like the most popular theme ever.
Hmm.
So.
And then there's
Either way.
people like AJ Styles who basically said, I like country a little bit, but I really like rap. And then they gave him, in his opinion, his favorite entrance theme, and he can't think of any other theme to come out to now.
Yeah.
That's
Styles' theme is provably great.
yes. Anyway,
They don't want none. So let's get into predicting some takeover shit.
okay, so we will be doing this. I am currently looking at the matches for NXT Takeover Chicago. I am looking at the wiki.
I am also doing that.
And we will be starting from the 5th match and going up to the main event. So the first match listed is Roderick Strong versus Eric Young with Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane in a singles match, I'd like noted. So Roddy ain't winning this. This is This is the start of a long feud. Eric Young needs to win via shenanigans.
Even if he doesn't win, well, shenanigans would be preferable, but he doesn't even have to win by shenanigans. He just needs to be like beastly Eric Young, like grizzled old veteran, kicks ass and takes names.
Yeah. Well, what I'm getting at is Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane will be a factor.
Probably, yeah.
Even if it's just they distract Roderick Strong, which gives Eric Young the opening to hit the wheelbarrow neckbreaker.
Correct.
Yeah, so we're both agreeing Eric Young win?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel like this match is going to be kind of similar to the match at TakeOver San Antonio with Ty and Eric.
Yeah. Next match, Tyler Bate, your United Kingdom champion, versus Pete Dunne.
Well, it was a nice run.
Yep, Pete Dunne's winning.
Yep. My only question, who do you think is going to take the UK title off of Pete Dunne?
It's going to be one of two people. It's going to be someone who... No. It's going to be someone who either hasn't debuted yet, or it's going to be Trent Seven.
I could see that.
Like, he is the next person I believe is in line, unless someone comes out of the blue. Like, if they sign a massive UK
do you think
star.
that they've put all of Jordan Devlin's brain back in his head for him to compete?
I'm sorry, Jordan Devlin, but no, you're not winning that title anytime soon.
Jesus Christ, that may have been the most graphic injury in wrestling I've ever seen. Like, that was disgusting.
Oh yeah,
I could see his brain.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Looked like he fell on an axe.
Yes, we get it. He looked really bad.
No, I've got 20 more analogies to go through to talk about how bad this was.
I've got one. It looks as bad as Toon's redesign.
Oh.
Straight fire!
Well, don't worry, Toon doesn't watch this.
I know. Why do you think I insult people so much? Because I know they don't watch it. Yeah, I love you guys. Anyway,
The
next
secret thing
match.
is I told people to watch this in our backlash review, so he probably will have seen this.
Yay! We need
Okay.
more people seeing this.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Authors of Pain champions versus DIY in a ladder match. Now, originally, I thought DIY was going to win this.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a certain tag division that needs some help. And the Authors of Pain ain't ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
So Authors of Pain completely demolish them, and then they just like both walk up the ladder while DIY is pretty much knocked the hell out, climb the ladder really slow and such, and just take the belts down.
That's something that could happen.
And then DIY heads to the main event roster.
Which show
Honest,
would you have them go to?
I want them on SmackDown, but they kind of need to be on Raw because Raw's division is kind of lacking.
Yeah, especially now that the Golden Truth fucking blew up.
Oh yeah, and don't forget the Revival are kind of out because of an injury.
Yeah.
Like if the Revival were around, I'd be fine with them going to SmackDown because whatever. But since the Revival are gone and so are Golden Truth, it's kind of like, okay, we need a new tag team. We need it. We need a face tag team that can eat pins, but also like win from time to time.
Who can like make their way up the card?
Yeah.
Because once the Hardy Boys break up, there's going to be a time when it's basically just Enzo and Cass.
Yeah, and then you're gonna need a second face tag team, and it's better to have people who are already a tag team him take that spot than go, you two, go out there.
Yeah.
I will always state people who are dedicated tag team guys, well, not dedicated tag team guys, people who have tagged for a while are better than just lumping two people together. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but...
Sheamus and Cesaro. Anyway,
Anyway.
so I will say I think that DIY will win the titles back. I still think that is the case.
So we have. This is the first time we're converging our answers. I'm saying Authors of Pain will win and DIY will go to main. You're saying that DIY will win?
I'm saying DIY will win and Authors will go to main.
So we are going on the opposite things. I'm saying, okay, Raw needs a face team. DIY go up. You're saying
SmackDown needs a heel team, so they go up.
Yeah, fair point. I can work with either one of them works.
Yeah, and I also think that DIY will be on the main roster probably night after SummerSlam on Raw. So
yeah.
Okay, so next match.
Yes, the next match is Asuka versus Ruby Riott versus Nikki Cross for the Women's Championship in a triple threat match. Asuka is losing her belt here. I've been saying this for weeks. She's not going to get pinned. She isn't going to get, air quotes, defeated. But I believe Ruby Riott is getting that belt.
We are going to differ on our opinions once again.
You think Nikki Cross?
I think Nikki Cross.
See, I like Nikki Cross chasing the belt than over Ruby
chasing it because it's like faces chase.
Well, not always, because I am saying Ruby is going to be a transitional champion for now. Like she wins it here and then loses it to Nikki at Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I'll say that Nikki wins. She feuds with Ruby for a little while. I don't think Ruby's getting it just yet, and then after that she can feud with the Aussie chicks. For a little bit at least.
You know what?
That's a feud. That's a good feud, I think, though.
You know what? I'll agree. You have swayed me. I'm gonna switch to Nicky as well.
Dang it.
You,
We've got to have like differing opinions on some of these. There's
oh,
not a lot of matches.
yeah. Well, yeah. We'd probably have an. If there was another 2 matches, we would have sway. But a lot of these matches are kind of like we both agree it's going this way because some of them have been leading up to this. It's like long time coming kind of thing.
Right. Oh, well.
Final match, all important match: Bobby Roode versus Hideo Itami. I'm sorry, Hideo, you're not winning that belt off Bobby. You may win the match, but you're not getting the belt.
No, he's not winning the match. In fact, I think Bobby Roode's going to kick out of a GTS, and the crowd is going to fucking shit themselves.
I think Bobby is going to win via. No, I'm gonna say Hideo's gonna win via disqualification when Bobby Roode attacks the referee or does something heelish.
Maybe. I think that Itami is going to lose. Basically, like, okay, not clean, probably clean in the same way that he beat Shinsuke clean at San Antonio. Like, technically clean, but like he'll take advantage of a situation.
But we both agree Hideo is either not going to hit the GTS or he's going to hit it and Bobby's going to kick out of it. Because he's been hitting it far too much leading up to this.
Yes, and like that Chicago crowd watching a GTS get kicked out of, oh my god. This is
make
the
him
kind of
salty.
thing that this is going to be the best kind of heel heat. It's so good.
So here's the question. Who do we believe is going to win? I want to hear yours.
Bobby. Bobby's winning.
So you're saying Bobby's going to win, air quotes, clean?
Basically. And then I think Hideo is going to go up to 205.
Yep. Go up to 205, take the belt for a while. Be the person who beats Neville. Yeah, takes that belt off him.
That makes total sense to me.
Holds it for like 3 or so months. Loses it to someone.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of wish that people would graduate from 205 Live to like legit fighting people on the main roster.
Or mix it up, like say have like 205 guys sometimes fight against main roster Raw guys.
Here's what I would do: like have like on Raw, like occasionally you'll have occasionally have like Titus O'Neil versus Akira Tozawa or something like that.
Yeah. So
and on 205 Live, it's like dedicated to the cruiserweights.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think because Bobby hasn't really done much. Actually, no. I'm actually going to, and this is going to sound annoying. I'm going to agree with you because I like the storyline of Bobby hasn't really, air quotes, cheated to win, but everyone is booing him. Everyone, like the air quotes reason is. Storyline wise, he's like, everyone is disliking me because I am winning and backing up what I'm saying.
Yeah, but opportunistic is the right word.
Yeah, like he's being opportunistic, but he's not cheating yet. And I think he'll cheat once he faces someone like Roderick Strong or someone who's been built up as a badass.
Yeah. McIntyre.
Yeah, like McIntyre, Cassius Ohno, Roderick Strong, one of them.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my question for you: who's Rude going to be fighting at Takeover Brooklyn 3?
I think McIntyre. He beats McIntyre by cheating, and McIntyre goes to main because McIntyre isn't going to be in NXT for long. Because he's already, in my opinion, ready for main.
That makes sense. I can agree with that. I think it's either him or Alistair.
Yeah,
And then same, because like we've said a while
both
back,
both of those
WWE is
guys.
apparently, well, yeah, apparently WWE is really high on Alistair, and
Oh yeah,
like we've said that Alistair might not be long for NXT.
he's already made his main event. He's made a he's been on a match on the show main event,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they
he was.
did talk him up on there. Like the Raw commentators talked him up. So I
Mhm.
have a feeling that he ain't gonna be long for NXT. Same with like Drew Galloway. Cassius Ono will probably be still there for another like 6 months or so, but he'll
Oh yeah,
be like I could see Cassius Ono being one of those guys who debuts at the Rumble.
I could believe that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so I think that's just about everything.
yeah. So we will see you next week. I hope you all enjoy the I hope you enjoy Takeover. I hope you enjoy Backlash. I hope you watch both our video of this and also the Backlash video that we put out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I am going to be doing something once the. I'm going to be killing myself because every. I am watching every episode of every event of the Best of the Super Juniors, and after that, I will be doing a massive recap of that.
Ooh, nice.
I will be over here laying in a puddle of my own sweat, tears, and blood. And
Gross.
yes, gross.
But so also next week, for um this thing, we're going to be talking about both. We're going to be recapping Takeover and also talking about whatever happens on the next episode, because the next week's the actual next week's episode for Wednesday, it's probably going to be pretty stacked.
And it's probably going to be a lot of
Like,
recap stuff from the takeover. That's
well,
usually what happens.
well, yeah, but we get a lot of recap stuff on the normal show.
I know, that's odd. And anyway, we will see you all next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Uh,
Actually, no, shut up, me. We have a breaking news to talk about like right now that just happened like an hour ago as of time of this recording. So apparently Tommaso Ciampa got injured.
yes, he received a leg injury. We're not exactly sure how at a NXT live event where when DIY was versus Sanity, X was put up. The match was stopped immediately. This is not a work.
Yes. This is well, at the very least, Tommaso Ciampa does kind of have a stunt double in NXT right now. Did you ever see that video with Oni Lorcan?
Yes. Shut up.
All I'm saying is, like,
So
would we
his
know the difference?
yes, we would.
They're both really stiff.
We would notice the difference. Anyway,
Okay.
in reality, here's the question: what are they going to do to replace the match?
Well, they have lucked out in the fact that this is a gimmick match. So what they can kind of do is maybe play this off like have like before the match have like cuts backstage and it's just like, oh my god, the authors of pain are beating up Tommaso Ciampa.
Mm.
And then like Johnny, like maybe Johnny comes out by himself to start the match. Maybe he finds a surrogate, maybe Oni,
Or
because he's not on the card.
or there's the other option,
What
which
other option?
the other option is William Regal basically says, "I'm not putting you on two in a ladder match against the authors." Says that to Johnny, and says, "But we still have to have this match." So I have found a replacement, and that's when you either bring out a team that's going to just get squashed, or you jumpstart the whole Authors of Pain versus Heavy Machinery show.
Maybe.
That's like your two options because I don't. I
Or just has Or have William Regal go find a new partner.
Yeah, but
Like
who?
I'm not being all that jokey about like maybe bring in Oni Lorcan, because it's
But
like
that would
if there's
be.
anyone on the main there's anyone on NXT who could replicate Tommaso Ciampa's style, it would probably be Oni.
But we don't. That's the thing. It's going to be a one-off thing. You don't need to replicate it. And if they're not gonna win, you don't care who he teams with. But it has to make sense. The problem is with Oni Lorcan, it doesn't make sense because they've never interacted at all.
On TV, yeah. So, is it too late to change my pick?
Oh no.
Actually, no. Fuck it.
Oh no.
Fuck it.
Oh no. Oh no.
I
I
gotta
would
get.
I would be hyped for that if his music hit to help out Johnny.
Yeah. He doesn't have a match on the card either. A lot of people don't have a match on the card.
Mm.
But yeah. So
Or
we'll see how
offers.
that goes.
Oh, actually, this affects me because I'm the one who. Wait, no, you're the one who said offers were gonna lose. So
Yeah.
my pick is.
I thought DIY was gonna win.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with it.
I'm just. This just reaffirms my thing of yeah, Johnny like Chomper is actually hurt. I like your idea. Actually, now I like your idea. Of Johnny comes out on his own and does this on his own, and then gets the living hell beat out of him, and then you can just have them both be out for however long that needs to be. Unless this Tommaso Ciampa injury is a very long one, then throw Gargano in the cruiserweight division. Have fun.
Yeah, that also works. Like Gargano is like the kind of guy. This could end up like inadvertently being like what happened when Zack Ryder got injured, and they basically had to or they basically said, "Well, I guess it's time to start pushing Mojo."
Hmm. And there's
So
a lot of things that could happen, and it'll be fun to see what happens at Takeover. So we will see you
yes,
next week.
and also get well soon, Tommaso.
Yes, get well soon.